first of all, thank you very much for being able to meet me today. And I'm part of a Franco-German project that's studying basically open source hardware. Mm-hmm. Some people call it open design, other people call it open technology. And here, like, I realized that there was a lot of people invested in making such projects grow. And so I'm particularly focusing on Aqua Pioneers, and I'm basically interviewing like stakeholders who are helping them grow. And so since right now they're being accelerated through you, mm-hmm. I wanted to talk to you.
Great.
And basically, if you can tell me like how you heard about them, did they come to see you, or yeah?
Yes, we had a program last year. They were accelerated by us last year.
Okay.
The program last year was focused in startup with impact on the use of water. Mm-hmm. So we made a call for an open call for startups, and they applied to our acceleration program in the last call. So they entered the program in October last year, and we are now in this month we're ending the acceleration process. They came to us. Of course, our selection criteria it's very focused on social and environmental impact. And in this program, we called last year Water for Action program. It was focusing on startup with impact on water. We selected 5 years, the last 5 startups the last year.
Out of how many?
Out of probably 100.
Oh.
Yeah, we more or less we had that approach. We had 3 calls last year, and in the first call we select only 1 startup. On the second call we select 2, and in the last call we selected another 2. And Aqua Pioneers, they came. It was really fun to have the interview with them, because in the entire process they never were a lonely person speaking with us. For example, in the last round of the selection process, of course, we made them came here and make a pitch in front of our judge criteria and of our judge, and they came 6 people to make the pitch, and that was a huge approach of how our experience with them was going to be, because all the other projects came only 1 or 2 people to present the pitch, mm-hmm. and they came the 6 of them, the 2 co-founders and the rest of the team, part-time team in that moment, and that was that created a great atmosphere for us to listen to their proposition. So that was the first time we saw them. Okay. And after that we started working mostly in our acceleration process is based on the ecosystem we can create around them, and how can we create the network and the ecosystem to make them grow faster.
How can you create the ecosystem to make them grow faster?
Because we create these labs based on the companies that are working with us. Mm-hmm. This lab is an ecosystem formed by companies who are working with us, searching for startups in the fields they want. For example, in the Water for Action program, and this year in the Tech for Climate program, we have Aguas de Barcelona, which is part of the Suez Group, which is a huge company, multinational company level, it's a provider of water in Barcelona, for example.
And it's private?
It's private, yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of connections that we try to make in the acceleration process during the...
And what is their interest in a project such as Aqua Pioneers?
They are looking for projects in three dimensions. First of all, open innovation. Mm-hmm. No, they work with us, with Aqua Pioneers and with the others, looking for open innovation, for them to have a source of new technologies.
And open innovation in what ways?
In patents, in new teams, in helping them to innovate internally.
But is it in terms of, for example, like inside out or outside in or coupled processes that they're interested in open innovation, or are they interested in working with teams that have open patents, like patents under commons license?
No, the common patents is not a must. It depends on the entrepreneur of that.
Mhm.
They are willing to buy something. They are willing to invest in some project, or they are willing in integrate some technology into their processes. That's not a that's not a must or something like that.
Okay.
The other part is the CSR, of course. The company like that, working with an social impact accelerator like us, they can have a strong CSR strategy. And the third one, and this is very clear in the Eco-Pioneers field, is the human resource. They work with us because they want to install an entrepreneurial culture in the workers in the company. And Eco-Pioneers has a strong impact in the workers of the companies where they install their solution, the boxes and the fields of Eco-Pioneers and the kit of Eco-Pioneers.
And they have a strong impact because of the what Guillaume calls the biophilia, because it makes the workers feel better, or how does it empower entrepreneurship?
Yeah, both ways. First, they make them feel better, of course. The second is that they create team building activities around that, and they create engagement between companies of different workers of different sectors of the company. And the third, and this is the inspirational way, is like, okay, this team of 5 young guys are working in this project. They quit their previous job in big companies, and they tell the story to the workers of the company. Of course, they are not telling them to quit their jobs and I was in Barcelona, of course, but they are helping to create a culture of entrepreneurship in the company, leading by example, and creating these connections and these networking and these inspirational activities. It's helping them to do that. For example, when a manager of the company is coming here as a mentor of the startups.
To what, sorry?
As a mentor.
As a mentor, okay, of the startups.
Yeah. He's been in contact with these young, energetic entrepreneurs, and he's saying, okay, I want to feel that more often. I want to create this environment in my company as well, and it's a win-win situation. That's what I'm trying to say in that field. And the companies are starting to engage more people to come here as a mentor, not only the innovation sector or not only the CSR sector, but people from human resources, people from technical fields and other fields in the company are coming here as mentors to have these more appealing.
Because they're drawn to new young entrepreneurs and what they're doing, and the exchange that can bring. Okay, because I was under the impression that the Aguas de Barcelona was a public company, and so that's why I'm surprised to hear that it's
no.
a private
Aguas
company.
Barcelona is part of the Group Suez,
Yeah.
And here in Barcelona, there are 3 different layers. Group Suez, I think, I'm not sure of this. Maybe we can make it go deeper. But Aguas de Barcelona is a private, but it's a private company with a little bit of participation of the public sector, but like small participations of that. But it's mostly of Group Suez,
Okay.
which is a French company around the world. I don't know if you know them.
All right. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see like how the project can scale and what would be their interests. For example, because I understand that the system can work with fish, and it can work with grey water as well. And if that would be in the interest of
With grey water.
Yes, essentially it works with urine.
Yes, but it's not the focus, huh? It's not the.
Well, it's for the moment no. But there are different projects. For example, in Mexico, they're using like vertical gardens around like highways to basically reduce the pollution level. And so they take the water runoff and they use that water to irrigate like those vertical grounds, and so that's interesting. And also I don't know, I was thinking about that whole concept that Vicente Guayar has of making like the neighborhoods, each neighborhood self-sustainable in terms of energy, food, etc.
and water
information.
resources.
And so it's I was wondering how like the Aqua Pioneers project could scale using gray water to make vertical gardens on buildings. Yeah.
Yeah, I am not sure is that the focus of our pioneers.
Well, for the moment, no.
No, for the moment, no. We have in the same program last year. We have a company called Silvestris, which are located in Madrid, and they are working specifically in vertical gardens and green roofs in cities. And they don't not only have the impact in this field, and they have a huge technology, and they have they design their walls and their roofs based on which plants are the most efficient in terms of capturing the CO2 of the area, according to the conditions of the local neighborhood. And they design their walls and green roofs according to that. And they also employ, how do you say this in English? They employ youngs with risk of exclusion, at risk of exclusion. So they have a double impact there. Aqua Pioneers, on the other hand, I think for what I spoke with them, is more focused on develop solutions of engineering using the fish and the aquaponia in terms of providing closed environments for growing food and fish, for growing plants and fish. I am not sure if the focus is to filter grey water in the use of this. Right now, of course, in the future, it could be a solution.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole question with Aqua Pioneers is how do you take that technology and make it so that anybody can use it? You know, so that more people use it, common people use it as a way of which will make more people use it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it needs to be like engineered in such a way as, you know, it's simple. It feels simple for people to use and say, oh, I'm going to grow my food and I need this much food, and so therefore, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I need
and
50
so there needs
for
to be
feed my entire family. Yeah.
There needs to be a shift in mentality, and in order for this project to be basically adopted massively.
Yeah, I think now the strategy of going that Aqua Pioneers is following according to, okay, this is a Creative Commons license and I'm going to put it online and everybody can download it and go to a Fab Lab and make it. It's a very niche situation. It's not open to anybody. Of course it is theoretically, but I don't know. I am sure that a father that needs to feed their family, he's not thinking in a solution like this to feed their family. He's just thinking in working hard, go to the supermarket and buy the food, and that's it. And I think cultural shift is needed to do that. These cultural shifts often happen by role models, by people who's leading the change and who's saying.
It often happens by what, sorry?
By role models.
Oh, right. Change happens not through guilt or fear, but through desire and aspiration.
Yeah. And this aspiration and situation is often from high-income people to low-income people.
Right.
So people wants to live as high-income people. Low-income people wants to live as high-income people live. So these are the people who need to make the change first.
It's the luxury bomb, basically. That's what it. Yeah.
And actually, yeah.
And so are you helping them like create such such a strategy? Is that one of the things that you address?
Yeah, no specifically.
Having actors and.
Yeah, first what happened them to make their business sustainable. Which is the stage they are. Now they are making these engineering projects at a larger scale for companies. And now this is the focus. Now we have to be sure that Aquapioneers is a company that is sustainable in the short term. Thinking in the long term, but working in the short term. So this is why we're helping them. Going back to the previous conversation, according to the high-income people and the low-income people, there was a curve of an economist. I don't remember the name. I'm always bad with the names of researchers that do that. That say that when a family is generating more income, they are starting to buy food, more processed food. For example, frozen pizzas and frozen lasagna and stuff like this. And at the moment when the income grows more, they're starting to buy more healthy food and less processed food and more organic food. No? So this is like the curve of processing food. You start buying, eating very few amount of processed food because you buy potatoes and meat and very and rice and beans and stuff like that. And if your income starts to grow, you start to buy more processed food until a tipping point where you as a family start to buy more healthy food again. You know, it's that curve of aspiration now. And in this strategy, they are working on top restaurants, top companies, whose workers wants to eat healthy, and to create this. You can do this at home, this culture, but not the straightforward in a more, I don't know if hypothetical way, but in a more in a more secondary way, no? And this is how they are working with it. I think you should speak with them more deeply about it, but their focus is not to sell a lot of kits. It's not to be a kit company. Yeah. They want to make it to be an engineering company. And in that situation, they need to be able to create engineering projects every time larger, until they can make a whole farm of aquapioneers. That will be the focus. And with a whole farm by neighborhood, for example, you can create this reach, this change in the local communities, I think.
Very interesting. And the in terms of the like the different sponsors that you have, how did it happen that there was an interest in accelerating projects with a social or environmental impact?
That's our role.
That's your role.
Yeah.
So it was your decision.
As ship2B, we only accelerate projects with social and environmental impact. That's our focus as an accelerator.
And then you find like the companies who would be interested in backing you.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay. And what does ship2B stand for? We were wondering.
What do we stand?
No, the name ship2B.
Ship2B. It's like join to our boat, our jeep, to a B economy, to the second side of the economy.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like a keyword like to be better, ship2B more sustainable, just ship2B more environmental friendly, and also be like the big corps movement. I don't know if you heard about them. The big corp movement, ship2B as well, like ship2B corp movement. Of course, we work a lot with them. So it's like this game of words.
Okay.
Yeah, answer your question. Yeah, that's good to hear.
All right, and so then you find the backers, and the Aguas de Catalunya are one of them, and now you have another one on climate.
I'm sorry, what?
You said that you on one call for projects, like it was mostly around water, and now you have another one on climate.
Yeah, that lab that last year was only focused on water solutions. This year we make it an evolution, and we work with water, and also with agricultural solutions, and with food solutions. And we call that Tech for Climate because we're looking for environmental solutions in the water, agro, and food, sustainable food production.
Okay.
And right now we're working on that.
And you feel that those are trends that are echoed in the Barcelona and Catalonia region?
Yeah.
How so?
It happens that last year for making a call we had to work really hard to find good startups working in the field of water and sustainable in that field. This year we had a call in March focused on this little bit more open field, which is water, agro, and food. And it was really difficult for us to select the startups that finally entered the program. We had at least 25 great startups working in that field, and we have had discussions saying, okay, I want this because of this, I want this startup to enter the program because of this, but look at this as well, and look at that one, and look at that one. You know, it was really hard for us to find, and it talks about the maturity of the ecosystem. And we have great partners as well. Last year I was in Barcelona and Axio and other partners. This year we invited other partners to join, as IRTA, which is an institute of research in agricultural technology, as Fundación Futur, which is a company focused on sustainable food, and Torres, which is a vineyard company. And it's a better ecosystem to accelerate these companies, and the companies are the startups are entering the program because of the partners, and it happens now the wrong way. We have new partners, new co-founders, big companies who want to join to the lab because of the startups. So now it's creating a virtuous circle.
Okay. And how so? And it's mostly like the partners who fund your services, or how does it work?
Yeah. The partners, the big companies, contribute putting money to solve ship2B's activities.
Okay. And they provide mentors as well?
Yeah, as well.
Okay. And you work on a common pedagogical tool for coaching the projects?
Yeah. Part of us is this formation, this educational program, but it's not the focus. The focus is once the startup enter into our acceleration program, we make a diagnosis and we set goals for them to achieve in the acceleration process, and we create a personalized roadmap for each one of the startups that enter the program. To achieve those goals. So it's you won't have two startups making the same roadmap with us, because each one of them is at a different stage, has different needs and have different goals. So there are some fields that are very common for all of them. For example, I don't know, how to raise money, how to make an inbound marketing campaign, for example, or how to introduce to new partners, things that are some hard skills and some soft skills that are common for all of them, but the goals and the entire roadmap with us is really different for every startup.
So you talked about what were the criteria that interested companies in projects. But what is exactly the criteria that helps you assess these different projects in terms of the maturity level?
Yeah, we have mostly 4 stages which are that the startups have when they arrive to us. We have idea stage, which is a good team that needs to have a great team, a good idea, and a very early stage prototype. They want to say, okay, for example, it happens a lot in this field that we're working now, which is I have a great idea, I have this prototype in the table or in the lab, we discovered this new bacteria that can make this and create plastic, for example, but we don't know how to make the product market fit. We don't know which industry or which company could be interested in working with us for scaling this. This is the idea stage, and we help them to the product market fit.
The product market feed?
Yeah,
Okay.
fit. In the second stage is the go-to-market strategy. For example, it's a startup that proved that they have the solution they made the early product market fit discoveries, and we need to scale that. Okay, you prove that a school, for example, you prove that a school or a company in your town bought your product at this price. Okay, we have to make sure for scaling this that the same profile of client you have in this city, in this city, in this city, and they have the same problem, and you have to create this scaling strategy. We have, as the third stage, we have the investment readiness stage. Okay, you prove this, you prove that you're able to scale, you have a few metrics of how to scale this technology, this business, whatever it is. Now you need investment to go to the next stage. And we help them to structure a company and to create the mindset to receive investment and to go to the next stage, to scale in a larger scale. And we also have an investment fund, but that's not deeply related, but we have an investment fund that is assessing all the startups that we are accelerating to see if we can invest in them or not. And the fourth stage that we work with companies that are companies that already are in the market, already are sustainable or more or less sustainable, and they want to certificate their impact. Companies that are selling, companies with larger teams, mostly teams of 5 to 10 people working full-time in the company, and they say, okay, I'm a social business, I'm a social enterprise, but I don't know how to prove that. We know we are a social enterprise, but we need to prove to the others that we are. So they come with us to help them to make this certification as a social enterprise, and create the metrics, create the culture, create the marketing strategy according to that. First to measure the impact, and after that to make that to help them communicate that.
And what do you feel is like the value that a project that combines like open technologies with a social impact, what do you think is the value that it brings?
I think that it's natural. For example, the open communities are communities that are willing to help each other in any way, starting by that point. The communities that are helping a lot, I have a few examples. The Aqua Pioneers is an example that they work hard to have their prototype, and in 1 second they put it online and for help them anybody to be able to reach that. The Arduino system is another example. The coding communities of open knowledge are other example of how to expand that impact, and so anybody can make impact with others' development.
You mean basically can appropriate the technology and use it?
Yeah.
So you think it's a culture of sharing? The value is in sharing and making other people being able to use it?
Yes, because that's a direct way of impact of these open communities that can have in that. But I think there's a second layer of that. That's the first layer. Of course, we share this. But the second layer is that can be really easy to scale exponentially. It's not that, okay, we are 10 people and we share everything. It's like putting all the information in a shared community, like all the communities that are online sharing stuff. I have no idea if some people in South Africa is making this. I have no idea if some people in Argentina is working with that. and I don't care actually. I do care because I can feel proud of that, but I'm not following every step that my technology is doing, or that my advances can help each other. So that as a, I don't know the word in English.
¿Tú puedes decirlo en español? Sí.
Yeah, en una manera muy desinteresada de compartir.
So in a very disinterested way of sharing.
That's why.
Uh-huh.
It's creating a culture of altruism in technology, which is, I think, is really interesting. Altruism. And some other fields like the academic world, which is all very structured, like the private scientific world, are also starting to capture some of this concept. For example, the open innovation field. It's something that if you ask a company 15 years ago, they all say, no, I don't want to make open innovation. I want to develop everything in-house. I want to have the patent of this, and I want to spend money, and I want to go deeper, and I want to be the only one in the world that can use this technology.
So what you're saying is that on the first level is sharing, on the second level is altruism, in the sense that you don't really know what innovations can happen when you give something and the other person says, okay, well, that's a good idea, let me use that, and then I will share back with you what it's about co-creation, I guess. Is that what you're saying?
No, no, it's not. That's a good point, what you're saying about co-creation, but I think it's almost the opposite. It's like, you don't have to ask for my permission to use this. And I am not always following who is using this. I'm
disinterested.
Yeah, I'm disinterested in working this. If you want to work with me to co-create something better, of course I'm open. But that's not my motivation. My motivation is altruism. I don't know if I can explain myself.
No, I'm hearing you. Yeah.
Perfect. And the third layer of that is the impact that it's having in traditional mindsets.
Because you think that's leading to more innovation.
Yeah, and to more innovation, and it's not only a thing of the niche of the maker space or of the Arduino space. This is starting to go into the traditional way of making innovation. For example, the open innovation that I'm talking about is that some people is seeing that this kind of structures and this new way of working can lead to faster and more scalable innovation projects.
How so?
By taking advantage of what is around you, not only having to develop everything in-house, but being able to use the resources that the ecosystem is always creating. And now the companies are more open to look what my competitor is doing, my neighbor is doing, my suppliers, what are they doing, my clients.
So we're going again towards that notion of value sharing.
Yeah.
Shared value, creating shared value through inside out, outside in, and coupled processes. So it's that shared value through coupled processes that you're talking about. Could there be another level too, in terms of just standardization? If I share what I made, then other people will adopt it and they will adopt my standards. Therefore, like, if I'm inventing something else, it will be based on those standards. Therefore, it's being more broadly shared. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a huge example of that when Tesla opened entire patents into the world to make that the standard in electric cars. So that's, for example, a huge example of this.
And Lego.
Lego as well?
Well, Lego in the sense that if you create something that's a brick that everybody can use, that's so easy, then everybody will use it. So therefore, like,
Yes, but I'm thinking in Lego because last year we have some projects in the educational field working with robots with Lego style robots, and they were competing against Lego with an open source robot and with Arduino technology and stuff. So I am not sure if in that field Lego is saying, okay, this is my brick. You can assemble this in the ways you want. But for some processes, for example, in the educational field, the robots that Lego have for educational purposes are expensive. This is so difficult. Are an all-in-one solution. So you have to buy the entire Lego package. And this for some low-income schools is really hard to achieve.
No, I was thinking of Lego just in terms of like rendering the brick accessible, and the brick is so easy that anybody can build off of it, not necessarily as
this kind of packaged solutions. The idea of creating it yourself.
Yeah, really. Which I think it's. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that pentagrowth model.
Absolutely, Javi Creos, we work a lot with them.
Okay, yeah.
This is a huge example of change of mindset of the companies, because these are companies that are leading innovations based on what they can find in the ecosystem and which one of the path of the pentagrowth they can work in, and how they design their business model around that pentagrowth model.
And so were you trained in the pentagrowth model?
Yeah. And actually Javi Creus and his team of Ideas for Change came several times last year to work with the startups.
And what's your interaction with them? How does it work?
They make a workshop, an entire day workshop, for example.
And which people pay to attend to?
No, the acceleration includes this workshop. We as ship2B, we have a partnership with Ideas for Change, and they came here and made this workshop for our startups. And also,
so you're very well connected with other entities able to like give coaching to to the startups that you're supporting.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Javi Creus, we made a few conferences, like I can remember 2 or 3 last year. Open conferences, of course, where Javi Creus and his team explained how to create high exponential business model based on pentagrowth.
And in terms of Aqua Pioneers, how do you think that they can use that model in order to have exponential growth?
I don't remember specifically what the things that we work with them in terms of this. I will have to check that out to see what we write down. I don't want to say anything wrong right now, but I will have to check that out.
Cool. I think you covered that idea of like fostering interaction between firms and startups, and the value that's created. So thank you.